first of all, can the presenters move down front here? Because I think we're all like straining to see some of the presentations. So if you guys want to move, feel free. I know during our last presentation I was trying to look back. Well, thanks for having me this morning. I started talking about LEED certification and green computing back in November of 2005 when Highmark brought its new corporate data center online. And the first presentation I did was with a group called the Uptime Institute. It's a national organization that deals with data centers and how to keep them up and online all the time. Well, it was in Minneapolis, and it was in the fall, and I had a time slot from 4 to 5 in the afternoon. And I got there. You know, 4 to 5 is probably not a good time anyway when you're out at a conference because everybody's burned out by that time. But I walk in a room, and there's 15 people to hear about green computing and LEED certification. So I thought, well, this will be easy. You know, little did I know that over 3 years since that time, I've talked all over the country this year, and I've talked to thousands of people about green computing and green data centers. So the industry in that space of time has just really exploded into this environment. And little did we know that when we constructed this data center, I don't know, most of you may know Lowell Starling. Lowell and I would talk in his office, and he goes, you know, Mark, we're just building a data center. And out of that, you know, we tried to do everything right. We tried to do everything with green in mind and Highmark in mind when we did it. So this presentation is going to talk about our evolution into the green space. And I call it an evolution, and really, you wonder what geeks talk about when they're out at conferences, but Dave Anderson from IBM, he's one of their lead architects. Him and I were earlier this year down in Florida at the Green Symposium, and he's saying, Mark, it's a journey. And I said, Dave, I said, in my life, you know, when I go on a journey, it has a beginning and an end. I said, no, I said, it's an evolution. So, you know, it's the strange things you talk about while you're drinking. It's strange. So I titled this presentation, The Evolution into Green Computing at Highmark, because it does not have an end. You know, this thing, you know, finally we're getting it. You know, Earth Day 1972, I was in junior high school in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and, you know, we had this big Earth Day activity. Little did I know, here, I'd be talking about green computing so many years later. So with that, our approach was, you know, we needed a new facility. We had an aging data center built back in the 80s. It's located on our Center Street campus, right down the street here, and it was starting to age. The infrastructure needed replaced. So, you know, we started looking at replacing the infrastructure. Hey, we don't need a new data center. We're going to just build in place. Well, we started looking at those costs of ripping out that old infrastructure in a multi-use building and laying in a new infrastructure there. And we determined that that building would have to take 20 outages for us to get that infrastructure put in. And our CIO's going, no way, you guys aren't taking this facility down 20 times, and you know, each time have this great risks. So we set out and we scoured the country. We actually put a 200-mile ring around Harrisburg, and we said, let's look for data centers. There's got to be a data center out there that'll fit Highmark's needs. So we traveled around. I visited more data centers than I care to, but in the end, you know, everything that we looked at would have had to be, you know, the infrastructure would have to be ripped out and upgraded for our needs. So, plus the intellectual property. You know, we have a lot of intellectual property. So in the end, we built this data center here near Hershey in West Hanover Township. It's probably about 20 miles from here. So meet our needs, you know, meet Highmark's needs for the next 10 to 15 years. Highly sustainable. We needed this facility to be able to withstand, you know, storms, outages, brownouts. So we went ahead and we made this facility a Tier 3 facility. It's not a Tier 4. You know, we're not a financial market. We are a claims processing company. And, you know, so we decided on Tier 4. And tiering is really an insurance policy. It's how much money you want to spend, you know, for how much sustainability. So for our needs, we said, okay, 72 hours is the measure that we're going to put on this. So this building can withstand, without electric or water, for 72 hours. Everybody gets the electric piece, but the other piece out there is the water. Your data centers are evaporating water, and you need water to keep them running. So this facility, we had to put backup water systems in as well. Highly secure. One thing we really didn't consider when we started this project, and then 9/11 hit, and the world changed. So we wanted to make this building more secure. At our Center Street location, I could drive my car up within 5 feet of the building and park. There's a whole parking lot right next to that data center. So we're like, no, let's separate the data center from the operation. So we made a decision to pull our data center out of our multi-use building and make it a standalone facility. It's a shame, but your biggest threat is probably your employees. And when you have a facility where you have 4,000 employees, you have 4,000 really threats. So you don't think about that, but in the days that we're in today, you have to think about everything. So we pulled it out. So highly secure was the next objective. And after that, we said environmentally friendly. And we're a health insurance company, and we all try and make the environments we live in a little better. And for our employees, we wanted this to be environmentally friendly as well. So with that, it's a dual certified building. It's certified through the Uptime Institute as a Tier 3 facility. And the way they rate your facility is through your weakest system. And our power is actually Tier 4. Our mechanical systems are Tier 3. So it makes us a Tier 3 facility. And then through the construction process, we did obtain the green certification through the U.S. Green Building Council as a Silver LEEDs. It's actually the only, to this day, the only dual certified data center in the country. So let's talk about what makes it that. Key construction type things. And this is where a lot of people in the industry differ their opinion on green IT. Ken Brill from the Uptime Institute says, it's all about energy and power, and so really LEED certification doesn't play into it. And I argue that you have to be a good corporate citizen. When we're out there building our buildings, remodeling our buildings, things that we did in the past, we need to look at green technology, green construction as we move forward. One of the things on this project was extensive construction recycling, all the byproduct of the construction process. And this was difficult and a challenge because we had to actually train the laborers that were working on our building about recycling. So we had a recycling yard on this construction project with about 10 of these dumpsters, and each one of them had signs as to what went in. We actually recycled 75% of the construction waste coming off this construction project and did not go back into the landfills. Construction materials acquired within 500 miles. We looked around. Where do we get our concrete? Where do we get our carpeting? And trying to acquire that stuff within 500 miles of the site, so we reduced on the carbon footprint for the tractor trailers to bring that stuff in and truck it. Our first choice was high concrete down in Lancaster, but because of our schedule, they couldn't meet our schedule. So we were forced then to go to Shockey Precast in Winchester, Virginia. So we had to bring all that concrete up. It is a concrete structure. It's all double T's and put together. So we had to truck that up Route 81. Waste technologies. There's two things we do with there's two things we do with water. One is we use gray water in our bathrooms. We actually collect rainwater off of our roof of this facility and store it into a 100,000-gallon tank. So we use that for our cooling towers as well as our bathrooms. We need 50,000 gallons to sustain our 72-hour sustainability factor, but it's a 100,000-gallon tank. Now, if we have a dry spell, we supplement that with city water. Okay. Energy Star roof. There was discussion about the roofs. This roof on this building, because it's concrete, it's a 3-inch double T concrete roof with reinforced rebar in it. Those roof pieces are all welded together. On top of that is a 3-inch topping slab to make the roof smooth. And on top of that is the actual roofing system, the Energy Star roofing system on top of it.